The Earth is sending out undeniable distress signals. Our planet is currently grappling with a severe climate emergency, a crisis that has moved beyond theoretical future scenarios into a stark, present-day reality affecting millions. Global temperature anomalies have shockingly breached the plus 2.3 degrees Celsius mark, a clear indicator that the delicate balance of our climate system is severely disrupted. This isn't a distant problem for future generations to solve. It is a crisis unfolding before our very eyes, demanding immediate and unprecedented action. The window for easily reversible damage has slammed shut, leaving us to confront the consequences of decades of inaction and insufficient responses to clear scientific warnings. The ecological repercussions are cascading across the globe with terrifying speed and intensity. We are witnessing the catastrophic collapse of vital ecosystems from the Amazon rainforest, often called the lungs of our planet, to the fragile Arctic ice sheets and vibrant coral reef systems. These are not isolated incidents, but interconnected symptoms of a planet under extreme duress. The intricate web of life that sustains us is unraveling, threatening biodiversity and the essential natural services upon which human civilization depends. The scale of this destruction underscores the profound failure of our current systems to protect the natural world, prioritizing short-term gains over long-term planetary health and stability for all. The human cost of this escalating crisis is already immense and deeply concerning. Accelerating droughts are plaguing over 30 nations, leading to widespread water scarcity, and igniting what many are now calling water wars as communities and countries struggle for diminishing resources. Simultaneously, sophisticated AI systems have detected alarming patterns of mass crop failures across more than 40% of the global south. This agricultural devastation threatens food security for hundreds of millions, pushing vulnerable populations further into poverty and desperation. These are not abstract statistics. They represent real people facing existential threats to their livelihoods and survival, a direct result of a climate changing faster than our capacity to adapt. Furthermore, the projections for forced human displacement are staggering and deeply unsettling. Experts now forecast that by the year 2035, a mere decade from now, as many as 1.2 billion people could be uprooted from their homes due to climate-related disasters. This includes rising sea levels, extreme weather events, and the collapse of local agricultural systems. Such mass displacement will inevitably trigger unprecedented humanitarian crises, strain international relations, and create fertile ground for social and political instability on a global scale. We are facing a future where climate change acts as a massive engine of inequality and suffering, unless drastic interventions are made immediately to alter this devastating trajectory. In response to this dire global situation, the Global Climate Engineering Alliance, or GCEA, has issued a final, urgent demand. This demand centers on the immediate execution of a $30 billion climate action deployment fund, starkly named the Blue Phoenix Initiative. This is not a request for new pledges or lengthy deliberations. The GCEA asserts that this fund has already been acknowledged and approved by multiple strategic international bodies. Its immediate deployment is presented as an emergency measure, a critical financial injection required to begin healing our wounded planet. The urgency cannot be overstated, as each day of delay allows the climate crisis to inflict further irreversible harm upon ecosystems and human societies globally. The $30 billion sum, while substantial, pales in comparison to the astronomical costs of continued inaction. This fund is envisioned as a catalyst for transformative change, designed to rapidly deploy solutions that can make a tangible difference. The strategic targets are ambitious yet essential. The creation of over 10 million green economy jobs across 22 countries, a significant step towards a just transition. Furthermore, the initiative aims for a remarkable 40% cut in global emissions within a mere 3-year timeframe. It also plans to provide fully self-sustaining capital for IKN Nusantara, Indonesia's visionary new capital city, and develop scalable climate-proof infrastructure in 7 critical high-risk zones around the world, offering protection and hope. At the heart of the Blue Phoenix Initiative lies a suite of 10 verified ready-to-deploy technologies, slated for rollout in the third quarter of 2025. These are not speculative concepts but practical solutions with peer-reviewed backing and verifiable deployment models. Among them are AI carbon conversion systems designed to transform captured CO2 into useful building materials and fuel, directly addressing atmospheric carbon levels. Superconductor energy grids promise near-perfect 95% clean energy transfer efficiency, revolutionizing how we distribute power. Climate-proof megacities utilizing an AI urban nexus aim to create resilient urban environments. Satellite atmospheric modulation offers precision rainfall and heat regulation capabilities, combating drought and extreme heat events. The technological arsenal continues with oceanic cooling structures engineered to restore threatened coral reefs and marine ecosystems. A quantum
emission forecasting network will provide sub-second global climate analytics, enhancing our predictive capabilities. Vertical AI agrosystems are set to achieve a tenfold increase in food productivity per square meter, crucial for global food security. An AI forest sentinel network will offer instant wildfire and deforestation control. Water recirculation and reclamation arrays will form an anti-drought global mesh, ensuring better water management. Finally, GeoAI infrastructure defense systems will shield communities from earthquakes, floods, and heat waves. These technologies have geopolitical approval from Indonesia, select UN bodies, and scientific consortia from 12 countries, signaling a broad base of support.
The successful and swift execution of the Blue Phoenix initiative hinges critically on designated leadership. Mr. Duwi Syahlevi of Indonesia has been named as the lead architect and executor of this monumental undertaking. His selection is far from arbitrary. Mr. Syahlevi is recognized for his exceptional ability to integrate supranational financial alignment, a crucial skill when dealing with global capital flows. He has a proven track record in executing high-risk technology protocols, demonstrating a capacity to manage complex and innovative projects. His operational expertise spans clean energy, food security, and critical infrastructure development, with established multi-continent operational access, particularly in Indonesia, Africa, and Latin America, regions heavily impacted by climate change. Supporting Mr. Syahlevi in this critical mission is Mr. Lawrence Smith of the United States, who will serve as senior technical advisor. This pairing signifies an important bridge between nations and expertise, combining strategic execution with deep technical knowledge. The GCEA has made it clear that the science, technology, governance frameworks, and ethical considerations for the Blue Phoenix initiative have already been meticulously developed and delivered. All necessary anti-money laundering, know-your-customer protocols, legal clearances, and bank-side pre-validations for the fund transfer are reportedly completed. The only element now pending, according to the GCEA, is the will of the world's most influential financial leaders to act decisively. The directive from the GCEA is not a polite suggestion. It is an emergency demand addressed to the titans of global finance and governance. The list of recipients includes Nathaniel Rothschild of the Rothschild Family Trust, whose influence extends significantly over financial giants BlackRock and Vanguard. The principal shareholders of BlackRock and Vanguard themselves are directly addressed, alongside Jens Stoltenberg, chairman of the influential Bilderberg Group. Further, the executive board of the Bank for International Settlements, the board of governors of the U.S. Federal Reserve, António Guterres, Secretary General of the United Nations, the President of the World Bank Group, and the President of the Republic of Indonesia are all called upon to respond. The requests made by the GCEA are specific and time-sensitive, demanding action within 48 hours of May 20, 2025. First, an acknowledgement is sought from Nathaniel Rothschild, the Bilderberg Group, Vanguard, and BlackRock. Second, immediate confirmation of the $30 billion fund transfer to Mr. Duwi Syahlevi is required, via specified accounts at Bank Mandiri or Bank BNI. Third, the direct assignment of institutional liaisons from the BIS, UN, US Federal Reserve and World Bank is mandated to facilitate smooth coordination. Finally, the activation of a joint oversight board, to be chaired by Indonesia and the UN Climate Office, is requested to ensure transparency and effective governance of the initiative. These are the gatekeepers of global capital, now tasked with greenlighting a planetary rescue mission. The consequences of failing to heed this urgent call and deploy the Blue Phoenix initiative are laid out in stark, uncompromising terms by the Global Climate Engineering Alliance. Inaction is not a neutral stance. It is an active choice that will lead to an escalation of already dire circumstances. The GCEA projects that a failure to act will result in millions of additional heat-related deaths annually across the globe. This is not merely a statistic but a profound human tragedy, preventable if decisive measures are taken now. The burden of these deaths will disproportionately fall on the most vulnerable populations, those with the least resources to adapt to an increasingly hostile climate, further deepening global inequalities. Beyond the immediate human toll of heat stress, the economic ramifications of inaction are projected to be catastrophic, particularly for the global south. The GCEA warns of total economic destabilization in these regions, which are already struggling with the impacts of climate change, historical economic injustices, and limited fiscal space to respond. This destabilization would not be contained. It would ripple outwards, further amplifying migration crises at the borders of the European Union and the United States. The resulting social and political pressures would strain international relations and potentially lead to increased conflict and instability, creating a vicious cycle of crisis and response that undermines global security. Furthermore, a failure by the world's leading financial and governance institutions to act decisively on such a clear and present danger would inevitably lead to a profound collapse of trust in multilateral institutions. These bodies, established to foster international cooperation and address global challenges, would be seen as having failed in their most critical hour. This erosion of faith could pave the way for a strategic rise of rogue state responses to climate collapse, as nations, feeling abandoned by the international community, resort to unilateral and potentially dangerous measures to protect their interests. Such a scenario would dismantle decades of efforts towards collective security and shared problem-solving, fragmenting the global order at the worst possible moment. The GCEA's message is unequivocal. The science is clear, the technology is ready, the governance structure is proposed, and the ethical imperative is undeniable. The Blue Phoenix Initiative, with Mr. Duwi Syahlevi at its helm, offers a concrete pathway to mitigate the worst impacts of the climate emergency and build a more resilient future. It aims to ensure free water, food, and clean energy access in conflict regions, addressing some of the most acute symptoms of climate stress. The choice now rests with a small group of powerful individuals and institutions. Their decision will determine whether humanity takes a significant step towards planetary stabilization, or knowingly consigns itself to a future of escalating chaos and suffering. The time for deliberation is over. The time for action is now.